Morning, you good to go?
Yeah, we can go. So you have 1 hour.
Perfect.
Almost what you want. Perfect. Could be. So have fun. It's up to you.
Welcome, guys. I think the one thing that we all kind of, when we get together at something like this, is we all have developed over the years of coaching is our own systems. Each of you are in your own system that you feel comfortable with. The system that I kind of developed and what I was always a part of with the Redskins was came from Don Coryell, and it's an old football system that had a numbering system. We numbered our routes, three numbered routes for most of our plays. We also use the right side of the center as the even for our running game, 2, 4, 6, and 8, meaning the holes that we'd like to attach to our running plays, 3, 5, 7, and 9 to the left. A lot of you probably have that in your systems. Some of you say maybe you call it a 24, meaning the 2 back to the 4 hole. We were a 1 back system, so we just call 40. Meaning the back would go to the 4 hole, and the number 4 was the predicated number for where the back would go. We did some 80. We were doing some 80 tosses out there. 80 didn't mean anything other than a back that's carrying it is going to the 8 hole, which is outside. So as we all kind of grow and also understand what happens is when you hear a number 2, 20, 40, you know it's an inside running play. It's between the tight ends or between the tackles. Anything 6 and 8 is outside the tight end or on the edge. So, so I think that's one of the things that I grew up understanding. Is it the best system? No, but it's a system that I know, and it's a system, that I can share with you, and whether you implement that and what you're doing or not is totally up to you. Concepts of the game, systems of the game, everybody has their own. So I'll be wanting to pick your brain and find out what you would like to extract from me and what I can give to you that'll help and make things a little bit simplified and a little bit easier for when you get back and coach your teams. The route tree that we developed was, again, for the exterior receivers, meaning the football is on the inside here, and any receiver on the left or the right had the same tree. And that tree basically was the 0 route was our hitch route, the 1 was an out, and this is at 5 yards, and the 2 was a slant, and which was at 5 yards. Now, we never threw a 1, very rarely threw a 1 route. Most of our run routes were from our inside receivers, and that was a total different tree. But the exterior trees are identically the same, both sides. So you got a 1, 2, you got a 3 route, which is an out route at 12 yards, a 4 route, which is a curl route at 12 yards, a 5 route, which is a comeback at 15 yards, a 6 route, which is a deep dig or in route at 15 yards. Your 7 route, we ran a 7 route very similar to that, and again, it is a corner route. Now the reason why, does anyone know the reason why we would invert our receiver to run a corner route? Does anyone know why you would do that? I mean, why you would bring him in here instead of a straight stem?
To create a little bit of space.
Absolutely. You got the sidelines here and you only got a little bit of space. So one way of doing it is to run him on a wide split and bring him in and finish the corner route. The other thing to do that would be to put him in a tight split. That way he can run the corner route from there. So there's two different ways you can get to your corner route. One is from a wide split, because the other thing you want to be able to do as a coach is vary your splits so that teams don't see that each tendency you're doing. Every time you line up here, you're running a straight stem 5-3 or 1 or hitch or 2 or 4 or 6, or every time you ran here, because you can still run here and you can run your 5 routes out here, just the outside release. So there's a lot of things you can do to vary, to give defensive coaches a different look. The 8 route was off the 8 route is we ran it sometimes as a timing route. When you hit on that 5th step as a quarterback and you had a safety here, you try to hit that thing before the safety. So you get on your 5th step and you drive that ball into a hole here right as he came out of his cut. So you give the receiver a chance to catch it and go. The other 8 route that most teams do is off of play action, which is a deeper throw. And what you want to do is have your safeties think run, oh shoot. Now you got a chance to get the ball in over the top. So there's 2 different types of 8 routes that we ran that were predicated on what type of play that we had. Then of course the one route that you always want to make sure you run as coaches at least 4 or 5 times a game is a 9 route. Now why? Several reasons. One, you get 1 out of 5 of those things, it's a home run, right? It's a touchdown. 2, what is a defensive back scared about the most? Getting beat deep. Everything comes off that vertical stem. Every receiver that is taught his speed, even if it's a hitch route. You watch Jerry Rice run a hitch route, it's a beautiful thing. He looks like he's running a go route, then at 5 yards he hooks up, he catches the ball. 1, what do we want to do in football? To create space. So if you do that vertically or in any type of game that you have, you create space for yourself, you're going to be successful. So our tree basically was this. And if you notice, 1, 3, 5, and 7 were all what? Out breaks. 2, 4, 6, and 8 are in breaks. And it's the same over here. 1, 3, 5, 7. So it doesn't matter. It's not just because it's here, you're running your 2s to the right. No, you're still running all your out routes to the right, and the in routes are even. All the odd ones are out. 2, 4, 6, and 8. And then 9 is the same. So that's pretty much the tree that I was raised in playing. I don't know if a lot of you, how many of you here have incorporated this type of a tree in your passing game, in teaching your players?
Sometimes it happens.
Yeah. Now the tree is, you don't necessarily have to say, if you have your 3 receivers here, you don't have to say 695. Some teams that I've played on will call it a word, stealer or something like that, and that's all inclusive, And all inclusive means 695. We're just going to, instead of the verbiage, we're just going to call it split right base stealer, and everyone knows they're what they have to do. Our terminology sometimes is a little long, 695 Y cross sneak. Like one I did today, is near left, fake 50 gut, bootleg right, X7, Z8, Y cross. That's a lot of verbiage. So sometimes we'll shorten it and make it a little bit easier to make it easier for the athlete and also easier for the coaches to coach.
Mark, usually when you call the routes, you call X, E, Z, or just say the number? I
will do that now. Our system also was predicated on always X, Y, and Z, right? So our formation would be a right formation of some sort. Our 6, if I said 695, it would always start with the X receiver, the single receiver. He would run the 6, he would run the 9, and he would run the 5. Now there's complementary routes to these, because if we're going to run a 6 route, I think I mentioned this yesterday, is you want to have some sort of backs left to occupy these linebackers to throw the ball in the 6 hole. If they sink, you throw it underneath. If they jump these two, you got a big hole here. You got this here, this guy running down the seam, so he's not jump. If this guy does decide to jump this 6 route, you got the 9 route. If for some reason they're 4 across and you got a corner and a safety sitting here on the 6, you can't throw that. These linebackers are disciplined. They jump that. This is taken care of. They can't cover this here, this guy leading down the seam and a 5 route out there. It just can't be covered. So every single route that we have, as when we put it in a play format, it goes against every coverage that there is. So if you put cover 2 up here, you would have as a quarterback your 1, 2, and 3 reads. If you put cover 1 or cover 0 or whatever, you would have 1, 2, and 3 reads as a quarterback. So it's all predicated on the defense. And that would be all drawn up in our playbook. So you get a playbook that is yay thick, and as a quarterback, you know that, hey, we got 6, 9, and you know, there's 40 different formations with 20 different plays. That's 800 plays basically, because you always want to kind of change, and I'll go into that a little bit later about changing your look, not making each, you know, have the tendencies each and every week that you play being the same. So there's a myriad of things that you can do with this, but all of this, and I haven't even got to my quarterbacks yet, they're out there doing the best they can, and I'm just saying, you know, normally I would say, here's your read the coverage of the defense. Where the coverage of the defense is where you take the ball goes. You don't predetermine, never in football do you predetermine where you want to throw the football. That's where you get in trouble. If you tell your quarterback, hey, you need to throw it to Jerry Rice. Now, if Jerry Rice was playing, it was usually a pretty good deal. You know, it was a pretty good decision, pretty easy. So, yeah, so that is a passing tree. Again, if the receiver is Z over here, Y over here, and X over here, and it's 695, means the 6 starts over here.
Okay, but
The 6 starts on this side, the 9 and the 5. It depends. X.
if you have Z and X on the same side, so you have a double...
A split formation or something like that. Yeah, I'll just draw one up. We have a double formation, you know, that we would have. We have a protection where...
Sorry, Mark, it's not from the numbering from the left to the right, but
Yeah,
from
I'm just...
Single receiver side, yes. Yes. Yep, a single receiver side.
How do you call it?
So if we call this, normally we didn't have like 685 or something like that. We had, you know, 5, but we'd start over here. We would start on the single receiver side, even though, yes, single receiver side, even though it was a Z, could be a Z in this formation or doubles, and 9, 80, 5, you know, I mean, there's, again, you could draw up, you guys could sit there all night long and draw up plays. Now they better have some sort of a,
No, because sometimes guys in the other ask, our colleague is asking, do you usually say to the guys, okay, we are going from left to right, from isolated receiver, then tight end, then the H-back, then, so is there a predefined order of the path you gave to the guys when you are in the other, or what?
no, that was all predetermined, that was all coached in 1 month training camp, you know, where you're in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, in 110 degrees humidity, and it's very similar to this here. You got guys coming from all different colleges, coming to a camp, and coaches having to coach these guys, and they're like, you could see like deer, you guys know the deer in the headlights? Yeah. You just kind of freeze, you could see the same thing happen. It happened to me, it was a whole new system I had to learn when I first got there, but there was a pattern to it. There was something that was tangible, that you knew that 585, you're the single receiver side, or 685, you're the single receiver side, you're running to 6, they're running 85 on the backside, you know. 770, you know, same thing. So, and then complementary routes to it. So I think, again, we could sit here and draw up plays and formations until our faces turn blue, but I think, you know, that each one of you will see that there's certain coverages that plays are better to beat. And that's probably the one thing that if you guys are good at knowing cover 3, you know, which is probably a predominant coverage, you know, and that's the one you want in the passing game, because you know what? There's not going to double. You're not going to throw a hitch route and have to worry about the corners squatting and intercepting. Anytime they're in any kind of a cover 3, even if it's man or zone, that it's a pretty good passing arrangement, you know. All quarterbacks are licking their chops when they see some sort of cover 3. What determines a coverage is these safeties, right? So you got the corners, sometimes you get a look like that. Now on the snap of the ball, you'll see him kind of creeping down here, trying to get into the run, and then this guy sliding back here, and then they're playing cover 3. Or on the snap of the ball, these guys will go back here, and he'll come up and play cover 2. So the safeties pretty much predict what it's going to be. One of the words we use, not words we use, one of the abbreviations we use is right there. Is the middle of the field closed or open? And that's a term you'll hear in football quite a bit. If it's open, it means it's some sort of cover 2 or some sort of cover 0 where they don't have, you know, there's no safety high, one high safety. So that's a term that a lot of people will use, and when you're looking at your film, every snap you look at, you'll know, hey, they're in a cover 2, middle of the field's open. They're in a cover 4, kind of a 4 shell. You count it as open, but it's really not open. Or there's a safety in the middle of the field, and the safeties are coming down. You got some sort of middle field closed. So, and as a quarterback, you always like to see that. If you see that and you got a passing game, you're going, all right, one, our guys on the outside as receivers are better than their guys because we know where we're going. And we also know that their thing that they don't want to get beat on is a deep route. So they're going to protect the deep route. They're going to give you the underneath stuff, and that's just like pitching and catching, you know. So it's a pretty basic football. So any other questions kind of a little bit on, I'm going to go over some protection issues. I know that a lot of coaches, one of the things I take pride in as a quarterback is you are like a coach on the field. And you have to know everybody's position. You have to know what everybody does. You have to know how to get everybody lined up. So I think protection is I think it's a phenomenal thing to understand, because you always hear 52 Mike. You guys ever hear that? Do you guys call out the Mike linebacker? Yeah, it's a good thing to have. Now, when you play a 30 defensive team, do you guys get a lot of those? Well, good. Sometimes, yeah. Well, here's a great little deal that we decided to go with, because you started some teams that were just bastards, those defensive coordinators. They were just assholes, to make it easy. So let's go. You don't start shaking if you start doing that. Okay, that's kind of a look you get, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait, you got one more. Another safety out here. Okay. Is that kind of a 3-5 look? 3 deep? Okay. And then now you go, how do you block this, And it's pretty cool how this concept can work, because no matter what a quarterback calls out, it'll work. Say he calls, he's going to call 56 a Mike, but he's going to say 53 is down. 53 down, because the tendency of the team you're playing is they're going to rush this guy 90% of the time. So why not just call him a down lineman? So you're going to go 53 down, 56 Mike. So if you put 53 as a down lineman, even though he's back here, but he's coming, you know that these two guys got that guy, right? Because they're the 4 down linemen and the center are the guys you call 4 down and the Mike are what these 5 guys are married to. They are married because we're running routes here. So he's gone, right? He's gone. He's gone. These guys are in base protection, so they'll know who to block based on who I decide to call out. So I'll say 53 down, right? So 53's down, they're blocking here. They know that the center and right guard have got here to here in protection, the Mike, because you've married them. This guy's out on the end, so he's married him. He's gone, right? Now, this running back here knows that this guy's gone. He's got the first guy outside or inside, whoever comes. So that's pretty much taken care of. This guy leaves, this guy comes, then he's probably pretty much in coverage, so he blocks 1 to 2 on the outside. This guy has got here. If he doesn't come, he goes into his route. Well, let's say I decide to call differently. This team likes to bring this guy 90% of the time. So you still call 54 down, right? But this will change the protection, I'll show you. 54 down, 56 Mike. So now with 54 down, right, before you had this guy blocking him. Now, 54 down, you got here to here. These two got these two, right? And these two are married to these two, right? He's on the end. Now this running back has 1 to 2 here. So just by calling one of these guys in down and one of the other guys is a Mike, you've changed the whole pass protection. But everybody knows, because they know by doing that, the 5 guys, these 3 guys are coming. This guy's down, he's coming 90% of the time, so you call him a down lineman. And then this guy is the Mike linebacker, and you're attached to the Mike. You're always married. Those 5 guys are married to the 4 guys you call down and the Mike linebacker. Then these guys sort out the rest. Now I'll show you an interesting scenario here. Because there's a lot of beauty and there's a lot of communication that goes on in a huddle, and not in the huddle, at the line of scrimmage. I just gave you one right there, tackle, end, strong safety, 53, 55, 57, 51, corner, free safety. And this is the 3 down, and I'll show you the 4 down too, how simplified it is, okay? You've called 57 down, right? So these 2 are married here, and the Mike is 55, right? So now all of a sudden, these 2 are married here to these guys. This guy decides to come in this gap here. Well, it's fine. You already got it blocked, right? It's fine. Now, for some reason, this guy decides to come here. Well, you're still okay, you know, because you can block down. What if this guy decides to come and he brings it in here, even though this guy's married to him? Now, all of a sudden, you have to make an in call, meaning when he comes down here, these 2 guys are married to these 2 guys, right? So essentially, if they're going to block here and here, that's closest to the quarterback, and that's a no-no. So what they'll do is they'll make an in call, and if this guy comes, in call. So now the back, who's got this guy, just takes the furthest on the outside and tries to do the best he can. It's not the best situation, but there's a lot of times that happens. And if you got smart guys, and especially teams that know that they want to try to break down your protection, they'll put guys in that what they call the A gap here, and they'll try to mess you up. But if you got smart guys and you know protection first, take care of your A gap, and then you let the running back worry about it, because this is a headache if you try to get this guy here and your quarterback's on a 3-step drop, right? That's a headache, because this guy is not going to get there. He's going to hit your quarterback, and there's a lot of mess that can happen there. So that's that. Let's go to a 4 down. And we'll run a 4 down from a bit of a spread formation. Now, if they put a backer right here, it's pretty easy, you know. You got 5 on 5, and they're probably going to play some sort of nickel coverage, nickel or dime coverage, you know, corner, safety, corner, right? Well, say they don't do that. Say they bring this safety down here, and they put a backer here and a backer here, right? Well, now you got to signify who Mike is. You have to say, hey, what's their tendencies? Their tendencies are they want to bring this guy quite a bit. What do you call 54? 54 Mike. It doesn't matter. They're going to be married to him. This back's going to be married to 57. Say you call 57 Mike. You got your running back in the backfield here. It's just the same. These two guys are married to him. Remember, anytime you call the Mike and you got 4 down, these 5 guys are married to the Mike and the 4 down lineman. And the running back has the 6th guy in that box. Now, hypothetical situation, say you call 57 Mike. So you got the tackle and the left tackle or left guard and the center working these two. You got the guys on the ends, him on the end, the tackle here, and the running back here. We'll say this guy decides he wants to come into this gap here, right? It's the same scenario we had earlier. Instead of having, unless he comes from depth. If he comes from depth, that's fine. He'll block him. But say he lines up in there. Well, it's easy. Just make an in call, and he'll go to that guy. So there's a lot of ways, a lot of different things you can do to protect your quarterback and make a successful play. Again, I said earlier before some of you guys got here, these guys, these 5 guys are what your team is made of. If these 5 guys are good, you're going to be good. If these 4 guys are good, you're going to be good. If these 4 guys are better than your 5 guys, you're in for a tough fight. But if you put these guys in the right position and they're good, this quarterback will be good, this running back will be good, these wide receivers will be good. Your football team's predicated on how good your guys are up front. And you're only as good as the guys up front on both sides of the ball. So that's a tree, protection, coverages. Does anyone have any questions on coverages? Do you want to, I've got some scenarios here I can go over you with some of the things we did that we were successful at. And football, again, I think when I talked yesterday a little bit, is the ultimate chess match. If you have this right here, where you have 4 guys in the box and 2 linebackers, and you have 5 offensive linemen, you have 6 in the box. Is that an ideal running situation? No. You have 5 to block their 6. You're not going to be successful running the ball. I don't care, if you're whoever's the great one, Walter Payton. You're not going to be very good. Barry Sanders is going to be very good. Now, if you have 5 in the box, or if you have 6 in the box against your 5, what is good? Throwing the football, right? Simple. It's really a chess match. If they're going to put 6 in here, they cannot play cover 2. One of these guys has to come down, one of these guys has to come over. Now you're in an advantageous position because you got 6 guys to block their 6, right, based on that. And you got one-on-one on the outsides. You got seam routes. Seam routes are great if they got some shitty nickelbacks, where they're not very good. As a quarterback, a lot of times you throw the seam route, where everyone's on a go. What do you have to do with your eyes as a quarterback? The great thing you have to do with your eyes as a quarterback is look him this way, throw the seam there. Or you maybe say, I want to look him that way because this nickelback is not as good a cover guy as this nickelback, and our receiver's better over here than their defender is, so you'll look the safety that way and you'll throw seam routes. I mean, there's all sorts of situations where you can put yourself in an advantage based on looks. A lot of times what we do is we'll come up there like this and we'll call a 20 trap, and we'll have a check with me, Charlie 10 hitch. Meaning we'll have hitch routes. These guys will run seams. These guys will run hitch routes. And if they have 6 in the box, we'll say opposite. Meaning the play we called, we're going to run the opposite play. So you have 2 plays called in the huddle. One's a run, and the other's a pass.
And you change it on the line of scrimmage?
Yes, you change the line of scrimmage. Now,
even on the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, but I'll tell you how you change it. Every one of you have heard it before, right? No, what's the word? Omaha. It's an O. it's not a secret. I mean, a lot of us, know that that is just a code word for opposite. So you go up there and Peyton will get going down, said, blue 40, opposite, opposite. So whatever play, now, here's the other thing too, is the defense don't know if you called a run to a pass or a pass to a run. You're just telling your guys, the most important thing is your guys have to be on the same page. I would really encourage you as coaches to, if you can, I wouldn't have a steady diet of it because, it can be confusing. But if you can do something like that, I think it really helps your game. If you can get up to the line of scrimmage and have a quarterback that's pretty bright, and you call 2 plays and you're willing to go opposite using Omaha or Orlando or whatever, as your code to say, hey, we're not going to run the first play because they got too many in the box, So we need, or you can do vice versa. You could come up here and call the pass play, right? Alert for the run play. And now all of a sudden you got what you want. So you go up, then you just run your cadence. Now instead blue 50, they stay in this defense. Then you go green 30, and green means go. We're going to run the play that goes. So there's a lot of...
First thing you do when you go to the line of scrimmage is counting the guys you have in the box.
Yes, you count the guys. Well, first of all, you get up there and you go 52's Mike or 57's Mike. 57's Mike, 57 Mike, down, set, blue 30. Check, green 50. Now you're going to run the play that you actually called instead of the play that you alerted them to. Okay. So, and then they know that, hey, they go, we can't run this run. You better not run this running play. And you'll be funny. If offensive linemen are so good, if you go down, set, blue 30, Omaha, they go, no. They'll tell you, no, we can't run this. So that's you got some smart guys in, So does anyone understand that concept of calling 2 plays and just based on whatever formations you have, if you have a good quarterback, you can spread all your guys out here, right? Have no backs in the backfield and call a quarterback draw, And if you got a bunch of quarterbacks, you don't want to do that too often. You get hurt. So.
Excuse me, Mark. Maybe you are sad. You are saying, I want you to understand one thing. For the system plays for the call. You have basic for the route. You have basic the number for the basic route.
Yep.
And every other route that you are special, you tag it with directly on the letters.
Yes.
Inside.
Yep. And like I say, each system's different. You could give a name for 695. You could. Our system, everything was numbered. And again, I'll just kind of go over you what our numbering was, because a lot of times we ran 2 tight ends in our running game. And so our numbering system was 20, 40, 60, 80, 30, 50, 70, 90. That was pretty much how we had it numbered. There was a 10 here, but we never ran traps, or we weren't a very big trap team or anything like that. But that was kind of our numbering system. The other thing is that we use, this was a great running formation for us because we have balance. We have 2 tight ends. We have 2 receivers, and see, a lot of teams we ran against. One of the things is, I don't know if you know the history of the Redskins, but they were very successful at the counter trade. They kind of invented the counter gap, So one of the things we did was, as a quarterback and as a team, is we came up and just ran this formation, and we ran what we called check with me counter. And so yellow was to the left and orange was to the right. So we knew if there's an R, it was to the right, yellow's to the left. So we come up to the line of scrimmage, and wherever they lined up, we had an answer for it, right? So they pretty much played right? So it looks like, hey, well, why wouldn't you run to this side? Well, this person right here was a reason, the one technique was a reason we ran to this side. Because in the counter game, angle blocks are huge. Now, if you run this way, yeah, it could work, but what if this guy gets penetration? And that's that 3 technique. That's very hard for a center to get all the way over there because he could beat him upfield and disrupt the play. This block was easy. These 2 blocks were easy, right? This block was easy. This block was great. Kick him out, and he'd be right up there. So we just called, and it wasn't counters, check with me. It's been so long. But anyways, we had the angles. And football, in the running game, and in the counter game especially, is angles. And we're a zone blocking team. And so there's a lot of good things we did with zone blocking. The next was also running plays. We'd like to run our inside running plays to the tight tackle. So we'd go check with me gut. And so this is pretty easy. This is actually a great, if you look at this, we got a man straight up on him. This guy's usually an outside technique, which is an easy block, right? This guy's an outside technique. That's an easy block. You've got a double team to the mic, right? That's an easy block, and that's an easy. They're all outside techniques. So gut, here we go yellow. We get big gaping holes because the only answer they would have would they have to put either someone else in the box or change all the defense drastically from what they were accustomed to playing. Now, you got a great tackle here. Sometimes you're going to get beat. Athletes are athletes. You got good athletes out there that could beat you, but you're giving your team the best opportunity to succeed. And that's just those are just simple 2 tight ends. If you got 2 good tight ends and a good offensive line and a good running back, you could go up and down the field just doing that. Now, if they start putting guys in the box here, what does that tell you? One-on-one, one-on-one. Other than that, they're going to have their safeties here, corners and corners against our guys, so they can do a lot of things that can take away the passing game. But when they start bringing, again, we talked about that earlier, some of that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 on 7 is a win for us. 7 on 8, not so much. Not so much. But what does it tell you? They got more guys in there than we can handle. Throw the ball. Throw the ball. Yep. So those are just some ideas, just to think about. Again, creative minds, which a lot of you have here, and getting a chance to meet you all. You guys, can put your team in the best, most advantageous position will really help. So I think that's just kind of a summary of what we can do now. Just kind of open it up for questions or anything you want me to put on the board or just discussion where I can be assistant. I'd love to. So anyone have any questions or anything that they didn't quite understand that I maybe cover again? I kind of went over it fast, but anyone? Again, if you have a quarterback, the rage today in the NFL is someone that can extend plays. The Dan Marinos and the Mark Rippons and the John Elways and the big quarterbacks, are a thing of the past. Even the Cam Newtons is a big quarterback. He's got the ability to extend plays. The reason why Seattle Seahawks have been good is Russell Wilson has been great in the pocket, but when things break down, he's also got escapability and he can extend plays. So, it's a new rage now. Teams are going to that, and it's been very successful for some. Our guy at the Redskins, RG3, has been injured, so he's not quite he's kind of a sitting duck now, a little bit. He's not as mobile as he once was. But I think, he's getting better, and I think I look for kind of a big year from him. So.
Mark, who was your outfit?
We had a committee. We had a committee. We had Ernest Biner, we had Ricky Urbans, we had Brian Mitchell, and we had Gerald Riggs. So we had Gerald Riggs was for one thing only, and that's here's our offense when it was 3rd and 1. Yes, we called it heavy. We called it jumbo. Yep. This was a lineman, 320, 340, 290, 290, 310, 350, 300. Now we put tackles. These were tackles. They were eligible. They had to report. I don't know what the rules are here, but they had to report. Same, eligible. And then Donnie Warren was about 275. We had Ron Middleton was 275. And Gerald Riggs was 260. That's heavy jumbo there. And me, 200 and plus. 200 something, yeah. So that was kind of what we did, you know, and one of the things we were known for was multiple formations. You know, when you get play chart, you know, we had 2 tight ends, 2 receivers, 1 back. That was a part of our offense for that week. We had 2 running back, basically an H-back, Y, or base formation was H and a Y, but mostly we ran out of 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, and a running back. Because it gave us with a tight end in there, it gave us 6 bodies that we could run the football, 3 athletes on the outside who could throw the ball, and so we could do more things out of that. That was pretty much our 60% of what we ran was 3 wide receivers, a tight end, and a running back. We didn't run any spread. We ran 0 empty. We never went out of the shotgun, ever went out of the shotgun. It was all underneath center because our game was probably first down and second down was 70% check with me's, where I had the ability to change the play, you know. We'd call a play and we'd run it if the defense gave it to us or had a chance to check it. So again, it's the ultimate chess match, as you all know. Yeah. To throw the ball? Yeah. I'm a golfer too. And golfing and quarterbacking are very similar. Your belly button and where your belly button goes has the essentially when throwing a football is where the ball is going to go. So if you're throwing the ball to coach here and I'm going to throw here like this, that's not going to be equivalent to a good throw. A good throw is shoulders and everything open to the target, belly button facing the target, much like a golf swing. Golf swings that go like this aren't going to be successful. You know, things that you're finishing your throw and making sure. Now there's also there's situations where you can't step and throw as a quarterback. You know, the protection breaks down and you got to be able to throw from different angles and be able to check the ball down and do a bunch of things. Throw on the run. Throwing on the run, I think, is what, believe it or not, was one of my strengths, because we did as a coach too. The pocket is a good thing, but moving the pocket is a great thing. You know, like play action coming out on bootlegs, play action coming back here, half rolls, full sprints. Changing the pocket just absolutely drives defensive coaches crazy, because they can't pinpoint. If you're dropping back the whole time, thank you for bringing that up, because if you're dropping back the whole time, you're going to be a sitting duck, you know, and you're not going to be successful. You got to be able to move the pocket. Peyton Manning and Tom Brady are excellent at moving in the pocket, you know, and they do enough things athletically where they can get out there and do be successful. But I will say that just in throwing, everything is predicated on shoulders and technique and being able to move your hips and rotation and being in the proper throwing, you know, I tell my guys on a 3-step drop, you know, the first step is the biggest step. You get 1 deep, and then the next 2 are catch-up steps because you're ready to throw. You know, you can't get 3 deep and throw. You can't go 1, 2, 3 and throw. That's not going to work. And you can't go 1, 2, 3, hitch and throw, because now you're right up at the line of scrimmage. So that first step is the biggest step, and it's a big step. And then 2 catch-up steps on a 3-step drop. Then it's a big step and 2 big steps and a catch-up step on a 5-step drop. Then it's 7-step drops. It's 5 big steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, hitch and throw, you know. So the toughest thing to teach a young kid is to throw hitting on the step, you know, like a 3-step drop. Because they always want to hit step a 3-step drop, and you just can't. You got to be able to throw in rhythm on a 3-step drop. Remember I told you that 8 route we throw? The 8s, the 5s, the 8s and the 3s are the 2 routes we throw on a 5-step drop where we're hitting on that 5th step. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're going. Every other throw we make is 5 steps, hitch and throw, or 7 steps, hitch and throw. So the quarterback is, believe it or not, the footwork of a quarterback is essential. It doesn't have to be perfect footwork, but it has to be very functional. You know, and if you can get a quarterback to know that when he's throwing to his left as he's coming back here, it's not coming back here, stepping here, and then turning. You have to almost be in a situation of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you know you're coming here, and look where your body frame is. It's already headed there instead of here, coming here, and then going there. That's late, too late. So there's some, I want to think of some good videos. There's some good videos out there on techniques for quarterbacks. Take a look at some of those, because teaching a young quarterback the proper technique early is essential. You know, it's like all of us that play golf. I learned a shitty golf swing many years ago, and I've turned my shitty golf swing into my golf swing. And so it's functional, but it's not technical. And when I'm playing golf tournaments, it breaks down. When the pressure comes, it breaks down. And that's the same as quarterbacks. You know, when the pressure situation comes, in practice you can get away with it, but if they don't rely on technique, then I think it's going to be a difficult task for them. Baseball players are all technical, you know, their swings and everything else. You have to have good technique. Quarterbacks are the same, you know. So, anything else? Good?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks guys.
Allora avremo un'altra sessione con Mark domani mattina. We have another section tomorrow morning.
Yep.
Be on time, perché inizieremo alle 9:30, quindi puntuali qua. We'll be on time because we start the section at 9:30, and we want to be on the field at 10:30 because.
And tomorrow bring questions too. Anything you guys might have. I want questions, and you know, I'll have some other things that I can share with you. But yeah, bring questions. And, yeah.
Ok, ringraziamo Mark per oggi. Thank you, Mark.
Ah, grazie, prego.